Hey there! So, second part of this week's video reviews covering the Marvel books, along with one other book that isn't Marvel, but I decided to pick up anyway. Godzilla in Hell, issue number 1. Now, I went in knowing nothing about this book other than the title, Godzilla in Hell, and how could you say no, right? Um, and I can't say like at once it's not what I was expecting. At the same time, I don't know why I would have expected anything else. And to put this review in one sentence, if you think you would like a comic book called Godzilla in Hell, then pick it up. Then I don't think you can go wrong. It might not be what you expect, but I think you'll enjoy it either way. If you're on the fence, well, I mean, this book is kind of a hard sell if you're not won over immediately by the title. We begin with Godzilla falling into hell. We don't know how or why he got there, but he's in hell. He almost immediately shows a distaste for Dante, which I think is great. You just have Godzilla atomic breathing Dante like that. And then we, like the whole comic, there's no dialogue in this entire comic. So it's a silent, or at least more silent than other comics. And you just have Godzilla kind of trouncing about in this kind of erroneous inspired kind of Dante-ish, maybe even a little Gerald Scarf sort of hellscape, beating up demons because that's what Godzilla does, and that's basically the book. I mean, in a way, it's very Samurai Jack. It's this lone warrior silently fighting through a weird, harsh landscape. And it's very much as pretty as something like Samurai Jack. But it also doesn't have much of a plot. It's literally Godzilla. Like this is a summary. It is a plot line. It's everything you need to know. It's Godzilla in Hell. It's a bit more abstract than one might think going in. But I could also see how it could be insubstantial to some people. That's, yeah. What you see is what you get. You can judge this one on its cover. It's a pretty book, and it's Godzilla fighting demons. That's it. But yeah, nothing more to say. I mean, I'm a bit worried. It's a 4-issue miniseries. I'm kind of wondering where it can go from issue 1. I'm gonna pick up issue 2 because I'm still sold on the book called Godzilla in Hell. But if you're looking for a deep existential story, I think you should look somewhere else. Next up is Moon Knight, issue, what are we on, 20? 17. Bit high. Moon Knight, issue 17. This is another one-shot, only kind of tangentially related to the rest of the Moon Knight run so far. And we begin with a very obvious villain, creepy smiley people helping out the homeless. Very Stepfordy. I was immediately suspicious. I immediately called, okay, these guys are going to be somewhat messed up. And they are. They are honestly some of the most despicable, villains I've seen in a comic book. They're running a panhandling pyramid scheme where they're giving a whole bunch of homeless people instructions on where to panhandle and collecting all the money afterwards. And that is simply awful, to take advantage of the homeless like that. That is monstrous. So you immediately hate these villains, which is great. And you don't even see the worst part of it yet. It gets worse. We find out that their whole thing is that they are running a church to Khonshu, who is, of course, the deity that Moon Knight gets his powers from. And if you've watched any Batman or anything whatsoever, you probably suspected that the homeless person we've been following this whole time is indeed Mark Spector in disguise. And the rest of the book is basically Mark Spector beating up the Church of Khonshu here and running into this lady who says she is a priestess, basically, of Khonshu. So that is where we are in this book. Compared to other standalone issues of Moon Knight, I think this one is a little weak. I think it probably could have been a two-parter instead of one-parter. Could have used a bit more substance, a bit more development for the story it's trying to tell, because it seems like a bigger story from the outset than it ends up being by the end. All of these stories, I mean, have been revolving around the same thing about Moon Knight doubting his faith in a way, doubting Khonshu's benevolence and his reason for giving Mark his powers. But I think when you have so much setup, you have this Church of Khonshu, you have this priestess character, this could have easily been 2 books, and I think would have benefited greatly from the extra development. As it is, it's still not bad, but it's not as concise, not as effective as previous issues of Moon Knight. Still heavily recommended, though. Next up, we have Silver Surfer, issue number 13. We're really blowing through these, aren't we? And this is really playing a fine line plot-wise between the kind of the end of the story Dan Slott really wanted to tell, I feel, with Silver Surfer, and the beginning of Secret Wars. Or at least as tied into Secret Wars as this book is going to get. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if Silver Surfer is continuing into October when the all-new, all-different Marvel series kind of reboots itself again with a whole bunch of issue 1s. But I'm kind of nervous as to this being the actual finale of the book. It feels... if this is going in the direction I think it's going, I think it'll feel like a bit unsubstantial, a bit of a letdown, because it had to end with the Secret Wars tie-in. That really does feel like it's coming out of nowhere. The first half of this book follows from the kiss at the end of the last issue. Dawn and Surfer finally realize their feelings for each other and express them. And the first half of this book is kind of a honeymoon, in a way. Dawn and the Surfer go back, visit all of the aliens that we were introduced to over the course of the series, and we go backwards. So first we have the French alien people, then we go back to the space manta rays, to the warrior guy. So kind of a trip down memory lane over the events of the past 13 issues. Eventually we go all the way back to the Empiricon, which is now in ruins after the events of the opening arc of this book. And then we immediately take a left turn into Secret Wars. Of course, Secret Wars is about the end of the Marvel Universe. And so by the middle of this book, we have Surfer and Dawn racing back through time, trying to outrun the end of the universe. And they end up in nowhere. They end up in a blank space outside of the universe as it is. And, I mean, there's a bit, there's still, I'd say, about a third of the book left that I'm not going to really spoil. But that's pretty much where we end with the Silver Surfer and Dawn outside the universe, just narrowly escaping the end of the universe, and kind of left wondering, well, now what do we do? We're given an answer at the last page. Again, it's the last page. I don't want to spoil where the story's going. But it really does feel like the book is kind of rushing to end at this point. Like Dan Slott wanted the story to go on a bit longer, and then it was like, oh, wait, we have to tie into Secret Wars. We have to wrap this all up and somehow, tie it in. And it feels like the story could have gone on a lot longer. We could have had more adventures with these characters, but we're forced to truncate that story. And that's very unfortunate. I mean, I'm sure the ending will still be enjoyable. I just feel like I'm getting shortchanged a bit. And I know it's still too early to say that, but knowing how comic books are, knowing that everything's going to reboot itself in October with Marvel, I can already sense that I'm going to feel a bit shortchanged by the end of this, and that's unfortunate because I have really liked Silver Surfer. Next up, we have another Secret Wars tie-in, Battleworld, and this has been another kind of underwhelming one. We have 3 stories. Again, this is an anthology series, and they're all pretty good ideas. I just think, again, because of the length, we don't get all the development we could have. The first story is a giant Wolverine battle royale. So you have all these alternate versions of Wolverine fighting each other, and the central character is a Wolverine monk, kind of a Wolverine Buddhist. Passive, non-violent Wolverine, and of course he is and stuck in the middle of the battle royale, just trying to pacifist his way through this whole fight. The second story is a Deadpool story that I honestly think goes on a bit too long, actually. We have Deadpool hunting this dinosaur that he wants to make his own steed. And then it's Deadpool hunting and fighting this one dinosaur. I don't think it's the best Deadpool's ever been. He comes across as even more annoying than usually. Like, I didn't really get a chuckle at all. I didn't find any of the dialogue particularly funny. So just kind of a substandard Deadpool story here. And we end with the single-page Ant-Man story that's very much kind of a Sunday funny. Very much a newspaper-style comic. Single page. Nothing too extraordinary. So, overall, meh. I really like the Wolverine idea. I think that could have been a book on its own, like just like a single one-shot sort of thing. I think it's just like the best concept and then the best well done with the art and everything. Really pretty, but yeah, just meh overall. I'd probably skip this. Next up, we have Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps, issue number 2. And when I first picked this up, I was thinking, we should be at issue number 3. So much happened already. And I think that's a testament to the power of the first issue, where it feels, in one issue, it feels like we've already had 2, in a way. We're already that far into the story, that far into the plot, where this book already feels like it's going at full gear, at full speed. So we begin with Captain Marvel looking for clues, kind of looking for answers in the middle of the ocean, where in the last issue, a ship was destroyed, a ship she believed to be an Ultron ship, found out it was not, it was full of innocent people, and she's wondering, okay, well, why was I ordered to take out this ship? What really is happening here? And that is part of her whole newfound skepticism, that maybe there is more to the world than Doom being the end-all be-all God sort of figure. So she's beginning to have her doubts about everything and is investigating that, taking an active role in her skepticism. We find out that the only survivor of the ship is Captain James Rhodey, and later on at the end of the book we get a little backstory as to what he was doing in the middle of the ocean with his crew before he was attacked. and that's interesting. Again, parallels to the rest of the book, kind of a microcosm sort of thing as to the questions and plots of the rest of the book here. We have Carol bringing in a doctor from the outside in order to help Rhodey recover. Of course, the rest of the core of the Carol Corps are kind of divided on this. You have Carol herself is like, we need to help Rhodey, we need to help this man recover. And then the others are like, she's going to squeal, she's going to rat us out, and we're going to get in lots of trouble. And one little detail I really like about this page in particular is the flag over here. I'm guessing this is the flag of Victor Von Doom, and it's very, of course, visually reminiscent of the Nazi flag, the flag of the Third Reich, Nazi Germany, and all that. A lot of people are more used to just the swastika, the red flag with the white circle with the swastika in it. But an alternate to that was a red flag with these kind of black stripes going through, and this would be a swastika if it was a Nazi flag. But that's, very visually similar. Drawing parallels between Dr. Doom and Hitler. Very effective in setting up, okay, this guy's probably evil, which we should know just from, the name Dr. Doom. What else happened in the book? So, yeah, then the Carol Corps come up with a plan to break through the sky to see what's on the other side of the void, which Doom, of course, tells them there's nothing there. All that is Battleworld. The Carol Corps now being very skeptic of that, retrofitting their planes into rocket ships in order to rocket into space. We get some quick, we get a quick chess metaphor, because all great stories need chess metaphors, and then we head into the third act, which I don't want to spoil. Continuing to be a strong story. The characters are a bit... we don't get much of them. Carol is the main character, of course. Carol is the one getting a lot of the development. We're also introduced to Rhodey in this book, who gets a bit of development. We get his backstory. The other members of the Carol Corps kind of put to the sidelines in this book. We get a bit more development with some of them. I still can't remember all their names straight. But we have the one kind of more rebellious member, the one who wants to keep everything within the small group. This one over here doesn't want to put the doctor in, doesn't want to let the doctor in onto their newfound skepticism. Really excited to get into space, really kind of hasty in her actions. We get more development on the Baroness, who seems to be the main antagonist of this book, telling Captain Marvel, keep in line, there's more to this than you might originally think, but, it's not your job to see all the pieces, that's my job, I'm in control here. So, compared to the first issue, it's not as much exposition, we're really kind of focusing, okay, this is really setting up the third issue, and I feel in the third issue we're going to get more of a climax sort of thing going. This issue, more rising action, more just setting up, okay, Carol's a skeptic, the skepticism is increasing, they're getting into increasingly deep water here, but as of yet, they're safe. They're, heading more and more into dangerous territory, but right now they're safe, at least till the very end of this book, where something happens I don't want to spoil. Still very good, still the central characters come across really strong, you get very clear plot, so good pacing. Chess metaphors, a little overdone, but effective. There's just as many metaphors you can make about chess as there are separate moves, so still pretty good, still one of the better Battleworld tie-in books. And the last book this week, one I have been waiting for, one many people have been waiting for a very long time. Super glad it is finally out. Hawkeye, issue 22. The end to the now legendary, I don't think that's too pretentious at all, that's too overselling it, the now legendary run by Matt Fraction, David Aja, I don't know, and all the other contributors of this fantastic book. And because it is the finale, I don't want to talk about it too much. Needless to say, incredibly satisfying. This is not a letdown. This is a very, very masterfully done final issue to this book. We wrap up everything. Everything is tied together very neatly, nice, kind of tie everything up with a nice, pretty bow. And it's fulfilling. It's satisfying. You end this book and you feel like you've had this story. You've explored this world. These characters made a full revolution, Just if you've been reading this book, if you've been waiting for this finale, this will not disappoint. You get your big damn heroes moment with Clint and Kate, beginning with Clint crashing through a window for the last time in this series. He's crashed through numerous windows, and in this one he crashes through, and it's heroic. You want to cheer. You want to be like, yes, this is happening. He rolls through the window, draws his bow. Lucky the pizza dog comes out, attacks one of the Russian mafia guys, and this book, it's ups and downs. You have Kate making her glorious entrance back to New York, saving Clint one last time. And this book, it's full of up and downs. It's full of, oh my god, yes, and then oh my god, no, and then oh my god, yes, and oh my god, and then everything happens just as you would like it to. It's not, as a finale, it's predictable in certain aspects. This is how the status quo has to be, especially because we have the new Hawkeye already happening. But how it gets there, the journey they take, the final steps in this adventure, they are fantastic. It is exciting. It is fist pumping. It's just brilliant. It really is masterful. Is the way to do it. You have a bunch of callbacks to previous things. So just again, in the beginning pit here, when you still have everyone coming together, we see how Lucky appeared at the end of the last issue, in issue 21, with the boomerang bow, the boomerang arrow. And we have Kate here saying, see, I paid attention. It all comes back in the end, which is it's just too good. It's too good. This really is the perfect finale. You get a brutal fight scene, like the brutal fight scene we've been waiting for between Clint and the teardrop assassin guy. That's just as violent and just as brutal and just rough as you would like it to be, as you expect a fight between these two characters to be. You get backstories on some of the mobsters, kind of be giving these names to the bros, which is an unexpected joy in this book. Getting names for all these Russian mobsters before they're all taken out. It's really great. I can't say enough about this whole run. These whole past 22 issues have all been fantastic. There hasn't been a single one I did not like. And it has been, I think it's easy to lose track of this over the past 2 years and over just in all the changes that the Marvel comic books have made over the past 2 years. But this book really was innovative, really was a revolution that changed how Marvel Comics told stories and the sort of stories that Marvel comic books told. And it's good to finally have that, the final brick in that story, the final hurrah, the last hurrah, finally put a wrap on all this. I said at the top of this part of the review, I don't think it's at all overselling the story to call it legendary. One of, if not my absolute favorite run on a comic book that I've read. It's short, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's the perfect length, really, for the story it wants to tell. I can recommend the entire Matt Fraction Hawkeye run to anybody, whether you're a comic fan or not, whether you're interested in Hawkeye or not. Just, if you know how to read, I would recommend this book. Simply amazing. pretty much perfect. Like, as perfect as a comic book series can get, pretty much. So, like, I'm sad it's over. I'm sad we're not getting more of this, but at the same time, I'm glad that there's no chance to dilute the legacy. So, that is how we're ending this with Hawkeye 22 finally out, just as good as everyone hoped it would be. So yeah, just what a great way to end this week of reviews. I hope you enjoyed these just as much as I have. If you have, please like the video. If you want to, please subscribe. Any comments, questions, anything at all, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll try to get to them. And if you're interested in the DC books I reviewed, that's in part 1 of this week's video, so feel free to check those out. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next week for some more comic book reviews.